maybe 45 minutes to 1 hour demo, and I'll give you the details about the course completely, what we are going to learn as part of the training, and how it is going to be and everything. Okay. To just to get started, basically, as you might be already, I mean, you might have done already some kind of a homework before choosing Informatica Power Center. Basically, for learning this course, the prerequisite for attending this course is an SQL. So I hope everybody knows that what is an SQL is all about and all. So in the SQL, people will ask me like, what are the concepts that I need to be clear with and all. So if you talk about that, let's say basically you need to know joins, and you need to know the aggregate functions like all those things, and you need to know the subqueries, um, and you need also need to know the DML and the DDL statements. So all these things are important. Along with the single row functions, you also need to know along with the joins and everything, you also need to know the single row functions. Basically, the character functions, date functions, how you convert from date to the character, character to the date, and all those things. So these are the prerequisite for you to understand. I mean, once you have a good understanding of all these concepts, basically it will be easier for you to understand Informatica, what is Informatica is all about. And to get started, basically, as you might be knowing already, you might have already heard about the different databases, right? So when you talk about the different databases, all these stores the data in the form of tables. I mean, it's just like your Excel, where you have a rows and columns, and then it will be stored. So to store the data in the form of databases, we have so many vendors who are available, who are in the market, who provides a database software for us to store. And the popular databases, what you think about is Oracle, let's say the SQL Server, and we have basically the Teradata and DB2. Uh, Likewise, we also have the other type of databases like Informix, Sybase, so on and so forth. Okay, we have so many databases. All of these databases will actually store the data in the form of a tables. It's like a structured format. So, wherein if you want to store the employee information, where you have a last name, first name, salary, and all those will be in the columns and rows. The data will be stored. So in order to communicate with all these databases only, we need a language. That language is nothing but your SQL. So in order to communicate, or in order to add the data to the database, in order to modify the data in the database and everything, for that we need a SQL. So SQL is a structured query language which helps you to communicate with these databases that we have. Now, why I'm talking about all these is because you need to have a database knowledge as well to understand the data warehousing concepts and the ETL concepts. So that is the reason I just gave you the outline of what is a database and what is an SQL. So most of the people will get confused. Database and SQL both are same. It is not same. Database is a software and which stores the data, and SQL is a language which helps you to communicate with the database. That is your this one. Okay, let's talk about now. See, basically, we need to understand about in the next 45 minutes. What I'm going to tell you about is like I'm going to introduce you with what is a data warehouse is all about. What do you mean by the BI, and what are the different ETL tools that we have available in the market, and what we are going to learn as part of the Informatica Power Center curriculum, and how it is popular compared to other ETL tools. That's what we understand, and I'm going to give you the complete details of the course, what we are going to cover at the end of the demo class. So since we have a basic learners, let's start with what do you mean by the data warehouse? What is the meaning of the data warehouse? What do you mean by warehouse? Where the things are stored, that is called as a warehouse. So when you talk about data warehouse, it's nothing but you're storing the data in it. That's why it is called as a data warehouse. So when you talk about the data, I mean, you're storing the data. Which software helps you to store the data? Which it is nothing but the database. Okay. So when I want to build a data warehouse, basically I can choose any database as my data warehouse. So we talked about so many databases here. I can choose Oracle as my data warehouse, or I can choose Teradata as my data warehouse, or I can choose my DB2 as my data warehouse. So it's nothing but the data warehouse is nothing but the collection of data from the different transactional systems We'll talk about that. What is a transactional system and all. Collection of data from the different transactional system and store that for analysis purpose and stored in a database, or you can call that as a stored in a data warehouse. And what is the use of the data warehouse? It is basically is used for a business analysis. So what do you mean by the business analysis and what kind of analysis that you're going to carry out? That also we will discuss. So when you talk about you are collecting the data from the transactional system and storing it in a centralized database that is called as your data warehouse. Now let's talk about, we talked about the transactional system. What do you mean by a transactional system? What is called as a transaction? What do you mean by a transaction, first of all? Okay. So a transaction is nothing but, in a general terminology, when you talk, like you are transferring the funds from one bank account to another bank account. So that you call it as a transaction. Or you go to any e-commerce website and then go and book any product. That is nothing but a transaction. Or you go and book a ticket in IRCTC, whatever the Indian railway system. You go and book a ticket over there. That's nothing but a transaction. Or you go to ATM and withdraw the money. That is nothing but a transaction. So a transaction in a technical terms, what we call it as, you are modifying the data or adding the data to the database or deleting the data in the database. That's called as a transaction. So when you say a transaction in a database terminology, like a group of DML statements is called as a transaction. Okay. So when you talk about the different DML statements like insert, update and delete, if you're performing, that's called as a transaction. So I need you to understand about what do you mean by the OLTP. OLTP is nothing but it is online transaction processing system. This is called as a where there are frequent transactions happening on the system. That's called as an OLTP. So what are the examples for the OLTP systems? When you talk about the OLTP, we call the OLTP as, the basically ATM withdrawal system, what we talked about, that is a OLTP system. Or you talk about any e-commerce application, what you talk about, the Flipkart, Amazon, eBay, all these are all the transactional systems. And you can also think about the airline reservation systems like yatra.com and Clear Trip, Make My Trip and all those things. So that is also a transactional system. And you can also think about your internet banking system, or where a core banking system where you go to the bank and then deposit the money. That is also a transactional system. Or you go to the retail mall and there your representative will actually enter the goods that you have actually purchased and they'll generate an invoice. The system which they are using to generate an invoice, that is nothing but a transactional system. So any retail, I mean to say the ERP system, that is also a transactional system what we have. So these are all the different transactional system. What is the use of these transactional system? In order to run the day-to-day operations. See, why ATM centers are there? It is in order to help their customers to withdraw the money and to provide your day-to-day operations of the bank. They have actually kept and the Flipkart has actually designed an e-commerce website. Why? In order to sell their products. So provide their services to the customers. So they have developed yatra.com, that is it. So everywhere this OLTP transactions, when we talk about, it is actually used for a daily operations. Daily operations. This is being used on this. Okay. So day-to-day operations, we use a OLTP system. And another terminology that you need to know, that is your OLAP. OLAP stands for a online analytical processing system. What you call is online analytical processing system. So this is nothing but your data warehouse. So or you can call this as a DSS, decision support system, or anything you can call it. So why it is called as an online analytical processing system is because you go and analyze the data on top of it. You go and analyze the data in the OLAP system. You go and generate the different reports and all those things. What kind of analysis will be carried out? That we will discuss. Okay. So now let's try to see. We say that in the data warehouse or OLAP, you're actually collecting the data from the different transactional system and then storing it. So we'll go and pull out, understand now how the data flows from the transactional systems into the data warehouse. When you understand about a data warehouse, what did you say? It's the collection of data from the different transactional system which is stored in the data warehouse, that is called as this one. So when I go here, let's say, let me define a small paint diagram for you to understand what is an ETL and what is a BI. Okay, for some reason it is not working. So let's me go here and open a paint diagram from this. Um, if you say this, let's say the paint. Okay, so we have a different transactional system. Let's take a simple example, practical example, and understand that what is the application of a warehouse and what it is used by the client. Let's say, let's talk about a Citibank itself. So Citibank has an operations into everywhere, right? They have operations into Europe, US, India, Singapore, everywhere they have. See, when they're actually providing the services to the customers, they cannot build one application which can be used by the Indian customers as well as the US customers. It is not possible because the banking, the way how you do in India is different. When you go to Singapore, you have to abide by the Singapore laws, and if you go to US, you have to abide by the FBI and all. So basically, they cannot define one transactional system to take care of all the customers across the world. What it is there. So that is, if you understand this, basically there are obviously they have to define the different transactional systems which they have. And when you talk about the Citibank is not only into banking, right? They are into credit cards, they are into mutual funds and everything, right? So let's say they have one application which they have developed for a core banking system, banking, for take care of all the banking operations. Let's say for all the credit card services, they have another application which will take care of all the credit card transactions and everything. And they have another one which will take care of the trading and the mutual funds and all those things. So they have a different transactional systems which they have. Now, if you try to see every day, these banking system, one or the other customer will be performing some transaction, right? So suppose, let's say you are a Citibank customer, you go and withdraw the money from ATM. That means they have to deduct your balance with that amount what you have actually purchased in it. I mean, what you have withdrawn. Similarly, if you are using a Citibank credit card, here or somewhere you go and purchase something, they need to keep track of all the transactions. So suppose, let's say the Monday to Friday, if you're actually investing in the stock or a mutual funds and everything, you keep buying something and then you keep selling something. These are the places like where a transaction is something that which is happening every day. The transaction is happening on the everyday basis. So if your transactions are every day, something is or the other is happening and your data is getting modified, or a new data is coming and then sitting in your OLTP system, right? You go and perform one transaction, that's nothing but you're inserting one record into your database. Okay, so this is how the different transactions are being performed on this OLTP system. Now, let's say the Citibank has decided to understand, okay, how much revenue that I'm actually generating from banking, how much revenue that I'm generating from credit cards, how much revenue that I'm generating from mutual funds. They want to analyze that. They want to analyze, or they want to understand how many customers have not paid the credit card bills last 2 months, or they want to understand how many new credit cards we have issued to the new customers in the last 1 month, and how my sales representatives are working, how my sales representatives are generating a revenue for me, and among all the branches in Bangalore, which branch is actually generating more revenue. So these kind of analysis, if they want to do it, basically they cannot carry out the analysis on the transactional system what we have. So I'll come back to that. What are the limitations with the transactional system? So why we are going for a data warehouse is that in order to analyze the health of your business, in order to analyze how your business is doing and how your business is improving, how I can improve my business, to understand all these kind of metrics, we actually build a data warehouse. So when you talk about the data warehouse, as I said, a data warehouse is nothing but the one database. So I can choose any database as my data warehouse. So as I said, let's say I'm taking Teradata as my data warehouse. Okay, this is the database which I choose. Now, in order to analyze the data, in order to enable the Citibank business user to analyze the data, what we need to do is we need to integrate the data from all these applications into this one. So when you talk about that, basically we will integrate the data from all these transactional system, right? So these transactional system, we will integrate the data from all these transactional system and load it into the Teradata database. So the process of integrating this data is nothing but your ETL process. Okay. So what do you mean by the ETL? ETL is nothing but the extraction of data, right? And the other one is called as a transformation of data, and L stands for a load. What do you mean by extraction? What do you mean by extraction of data? In the database terminology, what do you call extraction means? Yeah, it's nothing but the reading of the data. So you'll go and read the data from your applications, right? So that is nothing but, how do you read the data from databases? The select statement. If it is a flat file, you'll go and read through the network and then get the data. So that's extraction is nothing but, let me put it in this way, that is called as a reading of the data. What do you mean by transformation? Transformation is nothing but changing from one form to the other form, or modifying the data. Or suppose you have it in the, you have duplicates here in this, eliminate the duplicate records, that is called as a transformation. So transformation is nothing but modifying the data or converting the data from one form to the other form, that is called as a transformation. And then load. What do you mean by load? Load is nothing but, again, load the data into the table. So how do you load? Insert, update, delete is called as this one. So insert, let's say update, and then delete. So this is called as your load process, ETL process, extraction, transformation, and load. So the process of integrating the data from your transactional system and the process of integrating the data from your flat files and everything, that is called as a ETL process. So you might even receive the data from in the form of a flat files, or you might even receive the data in the form of XML files. Any file it could be, and basically the integrating that data from the flat files and everything into the centralized database, that is called as your ETL process. So the job of a ETL developer is nothing but read the data from all these, transform it and load it into the database. So let's talk about what are the tools that are involved in this, in doing it. We have a different ETL tools which are available in the market. So that is nothing but your Informatica Power Center is one ETL tool. So the latest version of Informatica Power Center is 961. We are going to work on that. Okay. So I think 10 is expected to release in the next 8 days from now. So still nobody is using that, but the 10 is expected to release in the next 8 days. And you have a very other popular tool, that is your data stage, and which is from IBM and IBM data stage. And you also have SSIS, yes, SQL Server Integration Service, and you also have a BODS, Business Objects Data Services. This is from SAP, and you also have a ODI, Oracle Data Integrator, and likewise you have so many ETL tools which are available in the market, and you also have some open source tools like Talent, Pentaho. All these are all the different ETL tools which you have available in the market. You have more than 10 to 15 ETL tools, or even more than 50 ETL tools which are available. Among all these ETL tools, ClickView is not an ETL tool, it's a BI tool. It actually, okay, we'll talk about that, how it works. Okay. So basically, with all these ETL tools, what is the use is that it will actually integrate the data from one transactional system to the warehouse, or one transactional system to the other transactional system, kind of a thing. So these ETL tools are majorly used in the data warehousing industry. So when you talk about the application of the ETL tools which are available in the market, 80% of the ETL tools are available, 80% of the ETL tools are used in the data warehousing projects. So it is used to integrate the data into the data warehouse. Another 20% are used in the data integration projects, used in data integration. So I'll talk about the data integration. What do you mean by the data integration?
So most of the cases it is used in the data warehousing. Integration is nothing but, basically now you are receiving the data from some third party vendors. Okay. Basically one of the example we talked about. Okay, let me Windows accessories. Okay, and the paint. Okay, now data integration means it's actually the moving the data from one to the another. Okay, let's say this is my transactional system. Assume that this is my OLTP. You heard about salesforce.com. So salesforce.com is a cloud based CRM solution, which it is there. Okay, so now you're actually receiving the data from different vendors, and that data has to be integrated into a transactional system. So your end product of the Informatica Power Center is a Salesforce.com. You are receiving the data from the different files or an XML file somewhere, and you want to integrate this data into a Salesforce.com. This is a data integration project. Here also I can use an ETL tool. I can use an ETL tool. That ETL tool will read the data from some XML file and load the data into my OLTP system, that is a transactional system, or you might receive the data in the flat files and integrate into the salesforce.com. This is called as a data integration project. If you see, the warehouse is nowhere. You're not, your end product is not a warehouse. You're loading the data into some transactional system, which it is there. So your ETL tools might be used, 20% is used in the data integration world also. They might use it. Or if you want to move the data from SQL Server database to Oracle, I can just use an ETL tool and move the data from SQL Server to Oracle. So this is how you can use the different ETL tools and then do it. So when you talk about the BI, again coming back to this, all these ETL tools, every day there is a new data which is getting added to your transactional system. These data, whatever is added to your transactional system, will be integrated onto the data warehouse. Now, the question is, like, you're loading the data into the data warehouse. What is the use? How business users are going to analyze the data? How do they analyze it? So when you talk about this, let's say I have something called as a BI. BI stands for a business intelligence. So what do you mean by the BI is that your business users have to understand your data in terms of how much revenue it is generated and all. Your business user is not a technical guy where he or she can go and write a select query and read the data, generate their own report, right? So in order to help them with a beautiful visualization and the different visualization charts and everything, we have another tool stack that is called as a BI tools. So BI tools, there are so many BI tools again which are available in the market. All those BI tools, what it does is it reads the data from your data warehouse already, which is being integrated by the ETL tool, and from this BI tool we actually analyze it. It will generate the data in the form of a report. What do you mean by a report? A report can be a bar graph, or it can be a pie chart, or it can be a line graph, or the data which is represented in the form of a tabular form. All these called as your reports. So your BI tools, it will read the data from your data warehouse and generate the data in the form of bar graphs and pie charts and line graphs and all those things which it is there. So this is called as a visualization. Visualization means you're representing the data in the form of pie chart, so that I can understand, okay, Bangalore is generating 40% of the revenue. Other 20% is generated by Chennai. Other 20% is generated by Hyderabad, remaining by Mumbai and the other cities. Something like that. So this is how you can generate it. So all your BI tools are intelligent enough to generate the data in the form of these type, and it will interact with your BI system, warehouse, and then generate the reports. So to generate the reports again, so as we know already, there are a lot of BI tools which are available in the market. So you talk about OBIE, Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition, and you have Cognos, and you have Tableau, which is a reporting tool, and you have a ClickView, which is a reporting tool, and you also have some other tools like MicroStrategy, Business Objects. All these are all the different MicroStrategy, business objects. All these are all the different BI tools which are available in the market and which helps you to generate the reports on this. So when you talk about the data warehouse, is data warehouse is a technology? Is data warehouse is a technology? No, it is not a technology. It is just a concept, or it is just a process you can call. It is just a process which helps you to analyze the data and everything. Okay. So data warehousing is actually comprises of two modules. One is a ETL and another is called as a BI. So ETL plus BI together is called as a DWBI, data warehousing and business intelligence. So that is DWBI. So when you talk about, when you go to any data warehousing project, you'll see the two types of developers. One is a ETL developer and another is a BI developer who helps the business user to generate the reports and everything. So when you talk about the technology that is involved in any data warehousing project, that is nothing but what type of RDBMS you are choosing to store the data. That is one technology. And what type of ETL tool that you are choosing to load the data into RDBMS, that is one technology. And what type of BI tool that you are using to generate it, that is a technology which is involved in the data warehousing project. So when you talk about data warehouse, it's not a technology, it's just a process which is proposed by the scientist called as a Bill Limon. Bill Limon is a guy who has actually proposed a data warehousing, and then this kind of a system can be used to analyze the data. So that is called as a so Bill Limon and Bill Limon is a guy who has actually created proposed a data warehousing system for analysis, and his thoughts have been carried out by the another scientist called as a Ralph Kimball. So we call them as a father of data warehouse because they propose this system and they help the industry to analyze the data and improve their business. So basically, this is a concept which is being proposed by that. Okay. Now, overall, what did we understand? It is a BI is nothing but you're analyzing the data by integrating the data from your transactional systems, and uh, you're analyzing the data by integrating the data from the transactional system and then doing it. So that is called as a BI in nature. So now the obvious question which comes to everybody's mind is that why are we just integrating the data here and analyzing it? Why can't I do analyze here? I can get the reporting tool and connect to this RDBMS, generate a report and show it to the business user. Why should I build a data warehouse? Why should I spend so much money in building the data warehouse, right? So why should I do that? Why can't I use a transactional system only? So basically, I can't use the uh, I can't use a transactional system for analyzing the data because when you talk about the transactional system has a little bit of disadvantages for analyzing the data. What is the disadvantage for analyzing? So suppose let's say whenever we understand the transactional system, it doesn't have historical data. What do you mean by historical data? Suppose, yeah, it's like, yeah, when you go to the ATM, right? So what will happen if you go and take the mini statement? It will hardly show you the transaction, 6 or 8 transactions, what you have done. But if you want to know what are the transaction I performed 1 year ago or 1 month ago, you'll not be able to do that. So that is called as a historical data. There is no history information which is present in the no history in the OLTP system, and your OLTP system data is being distributed across all the different applications, right? Banking is one application, credit card is another application, and I have a mutual funds is another application which I have. So suppose if basically the CEO of the Citibank want to understand what is the total revenue from each business line, from each line of business I want to understand, what they should do? First, they should go and identify what is a banking revenue, and again they should go and understand what is a credit card revenue and mutual funds revenue. Basically, they have to combine all the transactional system revenue and then represent in the report. So obviously, it is a time consuming process, right? And again, they have to depend upon the IT to get that metrics for them, right? So basically, this is these transactional systems, since the data is distributed across the multiple systems, it is a time consuming process to do the reporting. It's a time consuming process to do the reporting when you say that. Okay. Another disadvantage with a transactional system is that, have you heard about normalization? Any chance? Normalization? What do you mean by normalization? What is normalization meaning? Okay. Yeah. Normalization is the process to organize the data in your database. Suppose if you want to organize the data within your database, we will make use of the normalization process. So in the when you talk about this transactional systems are more normalized in nature. When you say more normalized, it's normalized up to third normal form. There are different forms. We'll understand that when we go to the course. But for time being, you can understand that transactional systems are normalized up to third normal form. A basic thumb rule is that more you normalize the data, more number of tables will be present in your database. Suppose if I'm normalizing up to second normal form, less tables will be there. Third normal form, more. Fourth normal form, more. Likewise, more you normalize, more number of tables will be present. So that is a linear proportional. Okay, more number of tables are present in your database. What is the disadvantage if you have a more number of tables? Suppose if I want to read the data, how it works? Like basically, is it easy to read the data from 2 tables or easy to read the data from 10 tables? 2 tables is always easy, right? So that means if you have a less number of tables, less number of joins are required. So your query will be performed better. If I have more tables, more number of joins. You need to write a complex query to do that. So that is the reason we don't use the transactional systems for analyzing the data. So why history is so important for analysis? Why do we call, now we are talking about historical data is not there in the transactional system. That's why it is disadvantageous. Why history is so much important for analysis? What do we need? Why do we need history data? Yes. So when you want to show the data in a report, let's say you want to suppose let's say you want to understand what is my growth of the business. Let's say in 2014 what was a percentage, in 2015 what is a percentage, in 2015 what is a percentage of the data and all those things. So this is a growth of the business when you want to understand, that is called as a historical data you require. So basically, what is the 2014 revenue? What is the 2015 revenue? If I want to see the progress, how it is actually going on and everything. So that is called as a historical data is required for that analysis. So that is the reason we say that as OLTP as a disadvantageous in nature compared to the other thing. So this is more about the different disadvantages of this thing. So when you talk about the OLAP system or your data warehouse will overcome the disadvantages all of this. Okay, because since the data is centralized in one place, you can just generate a report easily. There is no time consuming process, and we will actually enable the data warehouse to store the historical data. We will enable that. We will store the historical data so that that disadvantage also overcome. So since because OLTP has all of these disadvantages, we are building a data warehouse and which can be used only for analysis of the data. So this is more about the ETL process and the BI process. Why we need to go for a data warehouse? Why can't we analyze the data on the transactional systems? Transactional systems have a disadvantages. So when you talk about the OLAP, so basically when you talk about the data warehouse, right, it is denormalized in nature, right? So when you say denormalized in nature, less number of tables will be present, less number of tables are present in the database, and less number of tables, and you can write a simple queries to read the data. You don't need to write a complex queries for reading the data. And in this, we have something called as a historical data also enabled in doing that, which is there. So this is more about the data warehouse, why it gives you an advantage when you analyze the data, right? So when you understand about the BI, we are saying that BI means which helps you to analyze the data. What kind of, like, why a BI is so much important for any business, right? That also we need to understand. We are saying that we are building a data warehouse, and data warehouse is used for analysis purpose and everything. Why should I build it? How it is going to help me? That also you should know. Suppose, let's say you are building a data warehouse for a Citibank. So you're saying that they're able to understand what is the revenue that they are generating, what is the performance of the each branch, what they have, and who are the defaulters uh, who are not paying the credit card bills from the past 2 months and all those things. What is the advantage of finding that? Why should they understand that? What is the need of that? Okay. Yes, to take some action or a decision. Suppose, let's say, if you come to know that there are some 1,000 users in Bangalore who are not paying the credit card bills, what you should do as a sales manager? You personally call them, you go to them and ask them why you're not paying the bills and all. You start recovering your bills. So, what is the advantage of recovering? Which in turn you're gaining that revenue and your liquidity of the business will increase, right? So, which in turn will improve your business. So otherwise, suppose, let's say, if you don't know who are not paying the bills, what will happen? You'll not be able to recover the bills. So it's basically whenever you say that you're analyzing the data, that means by that analysis you're going to take some action or you're going to take some decision. That's why the data warehouse is called as a decision support system. So it helps you to, basically the data warehouse will help you to improve your business in all the areas. In the sense, the way how you provide the services to your customers, uh, to improve your revenues. It's basically to improve your growth of the business, to improve the growth. It's everywhere it will help you. So that's why every domain, data warehouse is not only for one domain, it is for every domain. It is for insurance, it is for banking, it is for finance, it is for capital markets, or it is for manufacturing, supply chain management. Any domain that you take, data warehouse is there. Why? Because any business that you talk about in the today's world is a competitive business, right? So any business is a competitive. No monopoly business is there in anything you take it. See, when you're building a data warehouse and when you keep analyzing your data, when you're taking decisions faster, then obviously the improvement will be there, and you'll take a decisions very quickly, and you'll stay ahead of your competitors. So even before Samsung releases a new product, Apple will come up with a better product, right? Because they analyze the market, they understand it, how it is going to happen. So data warehouse is basically, it will help you to stay ahead of your competitors, and it will help you to improve your business, and it will help you to understand the health of your business. When you say health, where I am lagging, where my business is doing good, where my business is not doing good, what action I should take, which sales representative is working fine or who is not working, what action I should take to do that. All these kind of analysis on a day-to-day basis you should understand about your business. If you're not doing that, you'll lag in your business and you'll not be able to stay ahead of your competitors and all. That is the reason data warehouse is for every domain. So as per the Gartner's report, you know about Gartner survey? No? Okay. So the Gartner is a third party company which actually does the surveys, okay? And they tell you that which tool is performing better in the ETL, or which tool is actually performing the better in BI, what is the software market is going to be, how much revenue that they're generating. It's a survey based company. So as per the Gartner's report, in last 2014, 51% of the revenue comes from the DWBI. In the whole software, if you compare the technology, whatever the technologies that you have, 51% of the software revenues are coming from only from the BI. So then you see the power, like how many clients are actually inclining towards a BI. Remaining all the 49% is comes from your enterprise ERPs and all those things, or remaining 49%. 51% is completely occupied by the BI world. So that is the power of BI and why everybody is running after the BI to understand their business. And also, to continue on the Gartner survey report, when you talk about the leading ETL tools which are available in the market, even as per the Gartner survey, Informatica Power Center is having a 40% of the ETL market. Compared to other ETL tools, Power Center has a 40%. So as of now, as per my knowledge, Power Center, Informatica Power Center is used by 5,200 customers worldwide. So they have, Informatica company has that many number of customers who are actually using 5,200 or somewhere around that. So that is the leading ETL market. When you compare the ETL tools which are available here, Informatica Power Center is a leading ETL tool compared to your SSIS, ODI, and IBM data stage. And we also have another one called as an Ab initio and all. So these are all the different ETL tools. So among all this is a leading ETL tool which is available in the market. Okay. So that is about your ETL and the BI. So now you understand like what is a ETL and what is a BI mean. Okay. Any questions from Srini and Swati? Do you have any questions?
No.
No question, not for me now.
Yes.
No questions.
Okay. All right.
No questions.
Thank you. See, now we understand about what is a ETL tool is all about, and what is a BI is all about, and what kind of what is the use of your data warehouse, and what kind of analysis that we're going to talk about. So basically, when it comes to the course, why we talked about all these is because if I talk about directly on Informatica Power Center, you'll not be knowing like what it is used for and why and all. So that is the reason we understand what is an ETL and what is a BI now. Now we'll try to understand now basically on the Informatica Power Center. What is an Informatica Power Center and what we are going to cover as part of this course. So this course is intended for an Informatica Power Center developer course. Okay. And along with this course, we are also going to understand the 40% of the admin activities. So you can call this course as an Informatica Power Center developer and admin course, both. So we're going to learn both the activities on that. When you go to the real time, there will be two types of roles will be there on the Informatica level. One is an Informatica Power Center administrator and another is an Informatica Power Center developer. So developer activities, what we are going to learn, that is 100%. Everything what Informatica Power Center developer does, everything that we are going to learn. When you talk about the Informatica Power Center admin part, 40% of the admin activities we are going to learn what is required for a developer. Okay. Now, when you come to the skills that are covered as part of this training, so basically when you talk about the different skills, we are going to understand in complete details. I mean, I just gave you the outline of what is data warehouse. We are going to learn each and every granular details of the data warehousing concepts. So that will go for basically around some 1.5 hours. We are going to spend again 1.5 hours to understand that. And next one is your dimensional modeling, which it is there. And dimensional modeling is nothing but how are you going to design the tables in the data warehouse. Basically, data warehouse, you are storing the data. How you are going to store? In the tables. Okay, in this. So dimensional modeling, basically again we are going to spend 2 hours to understand what is a dimension, what is a fact, how do you design, what are the data modeling tools and everything. And we are also going to understand about the Informatica Power Center 961. In this, you'll understand about the architecture, what is the use of it, and along with this, we are also going to understand the 45 business use cases along with this. When I say 45 business use cases, each and everything from Informatica, each and everything in the Informatica, right from the very basic level to the advanced level, we are going to do that in the Informatica Power Center business use case. So in this, we'll understand the basics from it till the advanced level. Basically, if you go to the Informatica University, they give you two courses. One is a basic level course, another is advanced level course. So in this curriculum, we combine both of them as a single curriculum, and we are going to teach each one of them and then doing it. So most of the people will come back to us and ask, okay, are you going to help us with the real-time project? Whether will you be helping us in implementing the real-time project? Yes. So what we do is, when you actually go through the training itself, real-time project activities and the real-time project is integrated into the curriculum. So by the end of this training, if you're implementing all the business use cases, that means you're completing one complete project. You are implementing individually one complete project. So what I'm trying to say in this, we are going to implement the real-time case study. That is nothing but the retail real-time project we are going to implement as part of the training. So with this, what is the advantage is that you're going to understand what is the each cycle of the ETL project and what is the each step, how you have to start, how you have to end the ETL project. All those things will be discussed as part of that. And also, after this, if you would like to continue with another project, we'll also provide you the necessary documentation to implement that project as well. If you want to still implement another project also will be provided at the end of this one. So that is in terms of a project. So when you talk about the other one, let's say if you want to understand about basically the we are also going to teach you the Unix shell scripting. So why Unix shell scripting is so important for an Informatica Power Center developer, that you need to understand. Basically, when you go to other institutes and all, they teach on the Windows platform, but we don't teach on Windows platform. We teach Informatica with the Unix platform. What is the reason is that when you go to the real time, all your Informatica Power Center servers are installed in the Unix. Okay, so if you're learning on the Windows, you'll not be able to get accustomed to the Unix shell scripting and all those things. So that is the reason, in order to help the learners here, we actually use Unix shell scripting or also part of the curriculum, which will help you to define the shell scripts. We are going to cover the basic commands in the Unix, basic shell scripting commands, and all those things will be covered as part of that. And also, we are also going to talk about the basic PLSQL. See, why PLSQL is again important. So you already know the SQL, and why basic PLSQL is again important. When you talk about that, basically PLSQL is important because if you are working in a project where Oracle is being used as a data warehouse. So PLSQL is a language which works only with Oracle. It will not work with a SQL server, or it will not work with your Teradata or DB2 and all. It will not work. So in case if you get into the projects where your Oracle is being used as a more data warehouse, so you need a little bit of basic PLSQL skills, and even in the jobs also they will ask. So we are going to understand how to define the procedures, how to define the functions, and how to invoke those procedures and functions from Informatica. All these things are also being covered as part of the curriculum. So when you say the total skills that are covered, data warehousing, dimension modeling, Informatica Power Center, a little bit introduction about other Informatica products, and we'll talk about the Unix shell scripting and the basic PLSQL will be covered as part of this. So the training will go for, since it is a weekend batch, it will go for a 6.5 weeks. When I say 13 days, it will go on Saturday and Sunday. Each day will comprises of 3 hours to 3.5 hours. So when I say the training duration, basically lecture, let's say the online duration of the class is going to be 35 hours. So we are going to spend 35 to 40 hours only the lecture. That means I'm going to demonstrate all these things for a 35 to 40 hours. Along with this, you also need to do the practicals. Around 70 hours of practicals will be there. So you need to implement all those. So you can understand the depth of the curriculum by using this. So among these 70 hours, you're going to spend around 10 to 15 hours here only for practicing. Remaining hours, you're going to do it from your home. So when it comes to the practicing from the home, you might be thinking like, how can I practice from home? All these things. We are going to set up a VPN server access for you, wherein you can access all our Informatica Unix server directly from home if you have internet. All you need to do is that you need to have a 2 GB of RAM machine. We will install, we'll set up it. and you can work from anywhere. Suppose, let's say, if you do not have a laptop also and you want to work from here, we will allocate you the system here, and in front of you there will be a system also which will be there, and we will also help you to understand that. So this is how we are going to do. When it comes to the installation point of view, we will provide the we will as I said, we will provide the VPN Unix server access, which you can access 24/7 without any delay. There is no specific time for it. 24/7, anytime you can log into the server and then access. And we will also install Informatica on your local machine as well. Separately, we'll install that. So once you are completed with the course and you want to practice later on, then you can use the setup which is being set up on your local machine. So in the local machine setup, you can use it forever. It will not going to expire. Any number of years you can use it as long as it is you're going to use it. So this is the installation point of view which we are going to set up. And for classroom learners, we actually provide the hands-on books as well. See, we have a lab guides which is printed materials. We are going to give you that. I'm talking about these 45 labs or exercises. All these labs are being documented in that. So you can go and see, read each one by one step and then implement the lab. So same labs will be discussed even in the class also, and the same lab you're also going to implement from your home or from here. We'll give you that guide. And along with this, we will also give you the interview preparation guide. So we'll also give you the preparation guide which talks about the theoretical concepts of Informatica, all those things. What questions will be asked in the interviews, what kind of scenarios will be asked in the interviews, all those soft copy of materials and everything will be provided as part of that. So let me show you the curriculum. I hope you might have received already from the team here, but let me just go through the curriculum, what we have and how many. You can compare with anybody else who is actually teaching Informatica. So we have a better curriculum than anybody who is teaching from Bangalore or whatever. So let's say we'll cover the data warehousing concepts this, and then the data modeling and Informatica Power Center. We'll talk about ETL, different Informatica products, and then the architecture of Informatica Power Center, and ETL project lifecycle, the case study that I talked about, real-time case study, and one by one business use case, real-time scenario. So there are around 45 business use cases which are there. And we'll also talk about the advanced concepts in the end. And we'll also do some kind of a migration activities, what the admin activities are there. And along with this, we will also talk about the shell scripts, how to schedule the workflows. Each and everything will be discussed as part of the curriculum in this. Okay. So this is overall details about the curriculum. See, since this is a the class which comprises of the basic learners, I'm not going in too much technical. So technical details will be discussed once you step into one by one. So first initial days for 3 hours, we'll have theoretical concepts one day, and once we are done with it, then we are going to continue on the practical stuff, whatever it is going to, right? So the duration of the class, as I said, since it is a weekdays, it is going to be for 6.5 weeks to 7 weeks. It will go for. So the timing will be of the same, from the 11 to 2, something like that. We will plan the course. So this is what will be covered as part of the training. And now